If you've ever had this feeling,
Welcome to today's show. Some say that space was created in a Hollywood movie studio. Well, guess what? So was war. Now, that doesn't mean that what's going on in Ukraine isn't real. But of course, these things are a show and a spectacle. They're created on purpose. There's always a reason that they happen. And no, it's not the reason of, somebody wants power and control, so they're going to take over the land. No, because there's people behind the scenes who control the people who play the roles of presidents, dictators, prime ministers. It's a show. I mean, they've even showed us it before, in movies like Wag the Dog.
I'm in show business, yes? Why come to me?
You know why?
Why?
It's show business. That's why we're here. V for victory. 5 Marines raising the flag. Mount Suribachi. One video of one bomb, Mr. Moss. The American people bought that war. War is show business.
You want me to produce your war? Not a war. It's a pageant. We need a theme, a song, some visuals. We need...
Okay, good. Put the village behind her.
Give me some flames. Some sound of screaming.
That girl. Doesn't she look Albanian? She looks like she was born and raised in Albania.
Mm-hmm.
Could she be running across a bridge? I think,
A pond.
I think it's a calico kitten. He's running across with a kitten. Boy, punch in a calico kitten. I have 19 screens here. I can't see one calico kitten.
We have a small calico kitten, sir. Calico.
What?
The president wants a white one.
He wants a white one.
How soon do you think we'll be able to get this cut?
Oh, we're going to be done in about 4 or 5 hours.
And this just in, a Newsbreak special report that the young Albanian national fleeing in this video is attempting to escape terrorist reprisals in her village. America has seldom witnessed a more poignant picture of the human race than that which armed conflict...
Fantastic.
All right? Now, I'm going to show you something here that you're going to want to see as far as the president of Ukraine goes, because a lot of you don't follow politics, and I don't blame you at all for not following it, because it's a circus and a charade. That's all that it is. It's a left-right paradigm. It's a this country versus that country. But we all know what the end of the story is, and that's a new world order. And it's going to come by creating superpowers like Russia taking over Ukraine, making Russia an even stronger superpower and uniting with China. That's the word. And just a charade, right? While these countries have these men that look like monsters, and then countries like ours are an embarrassment. America's fallen. But remember, it's part of the show, the reason that America has fallen. And I'll get into that in a minute. But let's talk about the president of Ukraine for a second, because most of you probably don't know who this guy is. I had mentioned yesterday that I wouldn't be surprised if he vanished and took a permanent vacation to Bagelville or somewhere else, because that's usually what happens with these people. They play their roles in the show, and literally we have somebody here playing a role. You might say, Carl, come on, that's a little harsh, playing a role. Oh, no. You don't understand. This guy had no experience in politics. In fact, he was an actor before he became the president of Ukraine. That's right. He was an actor and stand-up comedian who is now playing the role of the president of Ukraine.
It's to Ukraine's presidential elections now, where a TV comedy star has opened a commanding lead in the first round, with over half of all ballots counted. Volodymyr Zelensky leads with at least 30% of the vote. The 41-year-old is the star of a popular comedy show and topped opinion polls prior to the vote. He's never held political office. Incumbent President Petro Poroshenko, currently in second place with 17%. The former Prime Minister Yulia Tymoshenko is set to be knocked out of the running in third place. In just a moment, I'll be talking to an expert on Ukraine. But first, let's take a closer look at an unlikely contender with a strong chance of becoming the country's next president.
Volodymyr Zelensky, the comedian candidate joking at the ballot box, asking if he can cast more than one vote for the camera. Zelensky comes to the candidacy by way of a hit TV show called Servant of the People, where he plays an outsider elevated to the presidency. So, does playing a president on TV teach you how to do it in real life? Supporters and analysts have different views.
I don't know if there is such a person as the protagonist in the series, but I'd like to believe in that.
Zelensky is new. He is not part of the system. He is against the system, and there are demands for change in this country.
Zelensky may not be entirely outside the system. Many say he's in the pocket of an oligarch who owns the TV channel Zelensky's program appears on, who opposes present President Petro Poroshenko.
People don't support Zelensky, they just want to show their attitude, negative attitude to Poroshenko.
Poroshenko is the president Ukrainians have now, the chocolate billionaire who rode his confectionery fortune to the presidency in the last election. To many, he represents everything that is wrong about Ukraine now: corruption and low living standards. He made his name as a pro-European, anti-Russian candidate, and he's sticking to it.
We have passed the test for our European ways, and it means everything we do to head in the European direction is absolutely right.
With an outsider comedian all but poised to become president, many Ukrainians do not seem to believe he's playing games with the country's future.
So you couldn't make up the story, right? That you have a guy, a stand-up comedian who takes over, and guess what? The role he played on his most famous, popular TV show role that he had was of a president of Ukraine. And now he is the president. You couldn't make it up because the script, they do have a sense of humor. You got to give it to these elites because they clearly don't care. And I don't want to give them any credit for anything, but I mean, it is laughable how unbelievably blatantly obvious they make it. And they love the fact that people like us get angry, but what they love even more is the suckers, what we know as liberal people who believe all of this stuff. And they sit there, they don't realize that things like this only can occur because they weaken certain countries and they have comedic presidents like that. Like it's a guy who's an actor who becomes president, or in America, this charade that we have going on here where, yes, we need to be more, change the names of schools to be more gender neutral and things like that. I mean, it's such a charade to soften and weaken humans. We have the weakest people that have ever existed. And it's going to be hilarious to watch what happens to these people when things go down because they're just pathetically weak. But if you want to see how much of a story and charade's going on here, here's some footage from CNN. The former president, the guy who lost to the now president of Ukraine, the stand-up comedian, who goes by the name of Zelensky. I believe I'm pronouncing it right. Well, here he is on the streets doing an interview while war is supposedly going down. He takes the time to step away for an interview with CNN in America, right? Because I guess America needs to know what's going on because most Americans really don't even care for the most part because they don't even get what's going on. But he takes the time to go out to the streets and, of course, show his weapon. And everybody seems to be in pretty good spirits for a war.
I understand we do have Petro Poroshenko, the former president of Ukraine, on the line. Mr. President, thank you so much for being with us. I see you on the streets now of Kyiv. Why don't you tell me where you are and what you're seeing?
First of all, thank you very much for attracting attention for the disastrous aggression Russia do against my country. What is it? Great to see you. We definitely want to tell that this is our joint fighting. We really need the sanction which make Putin weaker and which make Putin to pay for his absolutely disastrous behavior. Just my assistants here. This is the short Kalashnikov. We have just, let me see, maybe 4 and low.
So again, I'm not saying that nothing's going on. Of course things go on. But in a video that I'm going to show you later today or tomorrow that is a must-see video, I'll show you who's pulling the strings, how the strings are being pulled, and why they're being pulled more so. then you'll probably just, your head will explode with the people in charge and power right now in certain countries and what they're doing and who's telling them what to do. But this is another guy who's put in there as a puppet. He's put in there, his role in there is to be a weak leader so that his country can be taken over. And the people in Ukraine, I'm not saying that there's nothing going on. The people in Ukraine are running around having a party. No, I'm not saying that at all. What they are is they're sacrificial lambs for these people and for this show. They don't care about anyone else. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. They don't care about the people in Ukraine. They don't care about people in other countries. They only care about themselves. And they need to put on productions so that they can convince people that these things are really going on, so they can convince people that we need something more to save us from all of this chaos. And of course, they'll have the answer, which will likely be the Antichrist. But that's another story for another day. But look at this. I mean, you have a guy who's literally an actor on television, and now he's the president of Ukraine, who played a president of Ukraine on a TV show. He's coming out talking about how NATO should have been involved. They deliberately left this to give to Russia. They left it to give Russia power over Ukraine and make Russia a stronger superpower for this fake conflict between Russia and America. And at the end of it all, America's probably the one that gets destroyed. Because the people in Russia aren't pathetically weak like the people in America. The people in America whose only concern is, identifying a 5-year-old's gender, letting a 5-year-old choose. These are the things they care about. Insanity. We've let insane people have voices in this country, and people with brains, such as myself and you guys who listen, continually get silenced. Well, there's a reason for it. See, those people think we get silenced because we're crazy. In reality, they're so beyond insane that their perception of the world is so beyond insane that you can't even have a conversation with them. They're not. I honestly don't consider them human beings. They're not even subhuman. They're just not the same species as we are, right? They're just not. Then they've been created technically in a lab by the television, by the media, and they've been babied and coddled their entire lives. And they're not in positions to have opinions on things, but they do, and they let their voices be heard, but ours be silenced for a reason. They don't want people thinking the way we think. They don't want people questioning why people like this, and how do you go from not having any political experience being the president of a country like Ukraine? How? We're supposed to believe that it's really a republic, and people just were like, yeah, we're going to vote for him. And even though he has no political experience, and the other guy gets voted out, and that guy's in the streets right now running around. I mean, you know how this story's ending. It's ending somehow. But them going after this guy's going to either get imprisoned or something more to rile up America and other countries. Now, there's also a connection with Zelensky and America because there's a connection between him and Trump and the whole Biden stuff with Biden's son and illegal operations with Ukraine and Russia. And there's a whole web of things that'll connect America to this. That was the Zelensky thing with Trump. Was when Trump pressured Zelensky to investigate Hunter Biden, the son of then 2020 Democratic Party presidential candidate Joe Biden. This resulted in Trump-Ukraine scandal and the first impeachment of Donald Trump. So you have that. So that's how they're playing the left-right scenario here in America, even all the way from Ukraine. It's pretty incredible how we are just somehow involved in this. This ain't like the board game Risk. It's way, way, way easier for these people to do this stuff with a television set and to manipulate people's minds. So that's the show that's going on. You have so many times that I'll show you later on with these leaders and who they're connected to and what the end game is. And I think a lot of you already know where I'm going with that, which I'll show you in later videos. But please make sure you sub to my other channels, the yellow channel, the blue channel backgrounds, or it's like a fiery channel. I can't even remember what color is what at this point. I have to color code to make channels just to talk because I'm apparently that offensive. But, you might say, well, why do you have people like Fox News and stuff get to talk and you don't? Well, because I don't believe in the left-right paradigm for starters. That's the number one probably for starters. They're pushed alt-right people because they want people trapped in the political game, right? And then other stuff, of course, we know why they restrict it because, well, they don't want you to ever think about anything involving nanos, but we won't get into that. Funny how that's vanished, by the way, off the face of the earth right now. There's not even a single article up on CNN about it, but I'll probably cover that on the website. And that's a reminder, too, to check out the website if you haven't. I hope this video, at least you have a little idea of what's going on as far as who the players are involved and why it's important. It is important for Russia to become a bigger superpower than they already are. All right, America's not going to war with a little country like Ukraine. America needs to go to war with a mega power, right? And there'll be rumors of wars, as the Bible talks about, but there'll also be consequences which are created on purpose by our own governments who are working and plotting together. And that'll be something you never hear on TV or from Fox or from any alt-right people, because they play into the paradigm. Whether they're doing it on purpose or not, I don't know. But the simple fact is, America is working with Russia and Ukraine. They're all working together. There's people higher up than prime ministers and presidents who are working this. Ukraine is a sacrificial lamb, a showing of dictatorship from Putin and power again and taking over countries like it's World War II. This is something they want, and they want the envision of weakened countries like ours, which is a pathetic country. America has become a joke in the eyes of other people. We've always kind of looked at it, well, it's just part of the show anyway. But the stuff we talk about here and have to hear about, and 20 years ago, the people who complain about the things they complain about now, you tell them, if these are the things you're concerned about, get out of America. And what we really should do is maybe we should take in a couple islands and just put them all there. So the people who want to change everything and change our republic into what they want it to be about people's feelings, they should just leave because they're weak, pathetic people. And then they'll go over there and they'll find something else to complain about because that's what those people do. So we have an actor playing a role, of course, like all these people do.